Order at 1:01 p.m. That. Roll call about order, sorry.
Member Heaney? Member Daniels? Here. Member Brule? Here. Member Rusher?
Here.
Here.
Member Tuck? Member Steve? Here. Member Shane? For the record, members Vegas, Davenport, Nagamini, and Norris are absent.
Great, thank you. And we,
Present.
our colleague can sit down first. Thank you for coming. We do have public comment today. Our first speaker is Joe Code. Please approach the microphone. Just a reminder, Joe will be speaking a comment as a public citizen, and there's no Q&A with the speaker during public comment. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I have read a lot of analysis of geothermal energy. And I've noticed that CEA and some of the latest documents I've seen is pursuing the possibility of using geothermal. There's a fair amount of criticism of geothermal, and I'd like to just share an article, one paragraph from an article called Geothermal Power by John Orthorn earlier this year. There are many, I've seen even much worse than this statements. At the end of his article, he says, summing up, although geothermal power has been around for a long time, the technologies required for truly global scale deployment did not exist until recent decades. From the perspective, it's best to think of geothermal as being behind wind and solar by a decade or more. With current geothermal production around 100 terawatts per year, this is the same scale of deployment that wind power was at in 2010 and solar in 2015. It is unlikely to see the dramatic cost reductions experienced by solar and batteries. Since those technologies are based entirely on small mass-produced parts. However, wind is a much closer comparison since wind turbines continue to get larger and often cost several million dollars to build. In contrast to wind and solar, the great advantage of geothermal is consistent 24/7 power, in particular for deep closed loop systems, the ability to site almost anywhere with almost no wind or no land use. Still, it is important not to fall victim to the hype of in cyberspace. Hybrid geothermal power holds great potential, but traditional geothermal is highly restricted in geography, and newer technologies are not yet proven to be economically commercial scale. This is a space that is worthy of continued R&D, and I am excited to see how it develops over the next decade. I think our committee is going to come down when we do our report, arguing strongly for a deeper push into solar. And I would urge CEA to not go down the rabbit hole of geothermal, which is we just saw. relatively unstable, at least at this time.
All right, thank you. All right, just a couple reminders to the committee. I don't know how many of you have listened to the recording. Just reminding everyone when you speak, try to speak into the microphone. And if you are asking a question or making a comment, please say your name and the city you represent. Okay, because that view you see on the right is what you see. And somebody can probably figure out who you are. Okay, so we're just doing that for our public so that they can they can hear everything we're saying and understand who is speaking. Okay. All right, with that, we will go to item 1. This is the CEA update, and this will be Caitlin.
Good afternoon. Caitlin McGee, Senior Key Accounts Program Manager here at Clean Energy Alliance. So starting off with our ongoing enrollment statistics, no major changes here. We continue to see a 93% participation rate throughout our service territory. And over the last month, since we last met, we have had and participated in a few events within our community. So several staff members and board members went to tour San Onofre Nuclear Power Plant. We also participated in the MSDC and NAACP Juneteenth Festival in Oceanside, and then also the Family Palooza in Escondido. We continue to have a busy summer, so upcoming events throughout our service territory. Here in July, we'll be at the Carlsbad Food and Wine Festival, and then the National Night Out, part of the Sunset Market in Oceanside, and then giving a presentation to the Escondido City Council, just a general update on the status of the CEA and our programs. And then several more through August and September. No major changes in the last month since we met on the Solar Plus and Battery Bonus programs. Overall, participation remains steady. And same with the Self-Generation Incentive Program funding, which supports the Connect programs, Solar Plus and Battery Bonus, serving customers who are income eligible throughout our territory, which is 80% of the area median income or lower. So almost $200 million, or almost $2 million secured in SCHIP funding in our service territory. And then same with Peak Smart Savers. There are no new participants since the last time we presented this data. However, we are heading into the peak smart season, which we typically anticipate to be the August through October heat wave time. Same with the rate relief credit opt-downs. Participation in the rate relief credit is remaining pretty steady. We have about 55 new participants since last month. So we do see people taking advantage of this option, and we continue to get the word out. And then lastly, the Risk Oversight Committee met on June 16th. So our staff provided an update on our power portfolio and our needs for the remainder of 2026. At the upcoming board meeting on July 30th, staff will be providing a full report of these discussions. We'll have a full staff report and presentation on July 30th, and then the next Risk Oversight Committee, which meets quarterly, will be on September 3rd. Any questions?
Right, are there any questions?
Yeah.
Paige?
Page Casino, Carlsbad. Could you go back to slide 11? Okay, how do those numbers compare to what you anticipated in the, that would be a chunk of the budget? Right, 10 million or something.
Yes, it's much lower than we anticipated. I think we had estimated something like 20% of our customers on the commercial side would take advantage of this, and then I want to say 30,000 customers on the residential side is what we budgeted for. So it was about $10 million. So this is much lower than we planned for. But it is kind of to be expected when we think about program participation. It's typically low to pick up on.
Great, anybody else? I have a few questions. First of all, on the list of community outreach events, how is this committee notified or able to engage or sign up for? Have you figured out a process for that? Yeah, what they're invited to, what they're not invited to. Go ahead.
Yes, all of these are public events. So as CAC members, you're welcome to attend the event. Come say hello at our booth. You can stick around and help us out if you are available. The process currently, we will only reach out to the CAC for signups and participation if there's a need to support staff. So typically there's a full day street festival from 9 to 5 p.m. And we need more than just our staff to participate, and we will send an email to all CAC members asking for volunteers. So it's typically around April when we have Earth Month, or the spring and winter festivals that many of our cities host.
But I know that, like, if you had an event in Long Beach, I would want to be there. And I think others of us feel the same with their city. Well, I feel like on those, there should be somebody reaching out to the advisory member, I'm sure you do for the board member. Like, let's just be, that's video possibly, or that. I think we need a process for that, because part of that engagement allows us to be present and to hear what the discussions are, so that we can try to do a very good job of representing our city. Just seems like a little too loosey-goosey for me. I don't know, that's just me. Everybody feel the same way? Okay. So I just feel like a sign up or a direct invite to the community person who represents the city, and then maybe an open invite. And I also don't think we want to do a task. I think we just want to be there to listen to conversations and show a representation from a member who lives in the city. So that's one thing. My other question, since we're on this, I think it's still under this topic, we have not filled our 2 community advisory members, one from Escondido, one from Vista. And we are in July. What is that process? I mean, if we're waiting for volunteers, I don't think it's gonna happen. I think we need to figure out a process where we reach out to people who are actively involved in different things in their city and invite them in. We want you to serve. So I don't know what that is. Maybe share how difficult that is, and if there's something you can help with, or if you have to come from city council. I just think there's to be in July, and we have not identified 2 people from 2 of our cities. I think it's a big miss in terms of representation and in terms of having this committee be healthy and doing work. We kind of want to answer that.
I'll answer that. So the process is that the board member of the city of Vista, they're the ones who select the person on the CAC board. In order for someone to serve on the CAC, they have to submit an application. Once Vista and Escondido have done, they have reached out to the people that they know are active in the community and have asked if anyone wants to participate, and they have been interested in doing responses to that. But we also did put it out there on Instagram and LinkedIn that have vacancies, and internally to cities. I reached out to the city clerk requesting that they put out the word for us, and Vista went ahead and put it on the website in order to get more people to, I guess, engage. And we haven't had any luck with that yet.
And to acknowledge, seeing all that, I think that's great, but I think we're at a point, that you're in July. You're gonna have to tap somebody on the shoulder, and say they need you, right? And I think we have a question. Yes, Jim.
He from this, Joe. The process that the city council was using is posed with lots of other opportunities to join commissions. Document that says, please fill out this application if you're interested in it. They come out usually once a year in the autumn, and there's no formal process that I'm aware of to go reach out to the public. You know, some of my friends in this have reached out and not found anyone, but it's, you know, there are not all that many people who read the Vista City Council list.
Yeah, we put some effort on social media. LinkedIn provided toolkits for the member cities to push this information. And then more recently, we've started reaching out to specific community-based organizations that we have relationships with, asking if they have anyone who would be interested in these positions.
Okay, that's great, thank you. And I think you have item number 2. Were there any other questions? Okay, Jan? Oh, sorry.
John,
sorry.
Moser from San Marcos. Last week at one of our North County leadership conference teams at a monthly meeting, I made an announcement that we needed people from Escondido and Vista for our advisory committee. After the meeting, one young lady came up to me and asked me more about it, and I told her where to find the application. I talked to somebody else after the meeting, and they knew people from both Vista and Escondido that they were going to refer to fill out the applications. So I don't know if they've done it yet. So I looked at the same thing you're saying, Deborah, as a meeting where you got leaders from around the county, and Tracy was there this time. So I took advantage of it and went ahead and asked the people. I think I did a couple of months ago, but I did it again this time, and we got some kind of response. So I'm hoping we'll get some of those applications in, and I'll follow up with a person I know that knows people in both cities and see what's happening with them too. But our city is the same as what Joe was saying. When you have your initial commissions and board announcements, we get it twice a year. Then we'll see an announcement about this. And sometimes at our city council meetings, but other than that, you don't really hear about it. So it's whatever CEA puts out there, or whatever we present when we go to different places.
I mean, I agree. I think the process that the city council member of the CEA is using is very different. I don't know that for a fact, but I feel like maybe if that process was a little bit clearer, they make a formal announcement at their council meetings. I don't know how to go. I don't know. But I think there's other stuff. But anyway, well, thank you. I think we've taken long enough on that. We'll move to item number 2, which is the new DER technology and integration. And I think that's that you as well. No? Okay. Here you go.
All right, can folks hear me okay? All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jay Berg, and I recently joined CEA as a programs analyst. And I'm excited to jump into my first presentation. All right, so for our second discussion item today, I'll provide an overview of distributed energy resources, often referred as DERs, and highlight some emerging technologies that are shaping the future of the electric grid.
As customer adoption of solar batteries, electric vehicles, and smart technologies continue to grow, ECAs are exploring new ways to integrate these resources into the broader energy. So today's presentation is intended as an introduction of what these technologies are, how they're evolving, and how they can work together to improve grid reliability, resilience, and customer participation in that energy transition. All right, so jumping right in, what are DERs? Distributed energy resources, or DERs, are energy technologies that are located close to where electricity is used rather than at large centralized power plants. These resources can generate electricity, store electricity, or help manage energy consumption. Because they are distributed throughout our communities, DERs can provide benefits to both the individual customer and the broader electric grid. Common examples include rooftop solar systems, battery storage systems, electric vehicles, and demand response technologies such as smart thermostats and connected appliances. As more customers adopt these technologies, DERs are becoming an increasingly important part of California's clean energy strategy. They help support grid reliability while giving customers greater control over their energy use and costs. Several emerging technologies are expanding the capabilities of traditional DERs. One example is vehicle-to-grid technology. This allows electric vehicles not only to consume electricity for charging, but also to export electricity back to a building or the grid when needed. Combined with smart charging systems, EVs can become valuable grid assets. Another area of innovation is solid-state battery technology. These batteries have the potential to provide higher energy density, improve safety, and faster charging compared to conventional lithium-ion batteries. We're also seeing advancements in smart converters. These devices do more than simply convert electricity from solar panels to batteries. They can respond to grid conditions and help provide voltage support and other grid services. And finally, hydrogen and fuel cell technologies continue to develop as a potential option for long-duration energy storage and resilient backup power applications. While some of these technologies are still emerging, they illustrate how DERs are evolving beyond simple generation resources into tools that can actively support grid operations. All right, so how can they be integrated? A key challenge is coordinating thousands of DERs so they can work together effectively. One solution is a virtual power plant, or VPP. A VPP uses software and communications technology to aggregate many distributed resources and operate them as if they were a single power plant. Instead of relying on one centralized facility, a VPP can coordinate solar systems, batteries, electric vehicles, and smart devices located across an entire community. This approach offers several benefits. It can improve reliability during periods of high demand, reduce strain on the grid, help avoid costly infrastructure upgrades, and create more value from customer energy resources. And for customers, participation in a VPP may also create opportunities for incentives or compensation when their resources help support grid operations. All right, so this diagram shows the basic structure of a virtual power plant. At the foundation are the DERs themselves, located at homes and businesses throughout the community. These resources are connected through a communication layer This layer allows equipment in the field to securely exchange information with the VPP platform. Examples include smart thermostats, EV charging controls, and battery management systems. Above that is the management and optimization layer, which serves as the brain of the VPP. Software continuously monitors system conditions and determines when resources should charge, discharge, reduce consumption, or otherwise respond to grid needs. And then finally, the coordinated energy and demand reductions from thousands of resources are delivered to the utility grid. By acting together, these small resources can provide meaningful support during peak demand periods and help provide overall grid resilience. While PPP programs are still evolving, many energy organizations view them as an important tool for integrating growing numbers of distributed energy resources into a more flexible and reliable grid. Now we'll take any questions.
All right, are there any questions?
Paige, Paige Casino Carlton. I just wanted to confirm that the Peak Smart program is not an example of this.
That is correct. So the Peak Smart program is based on behaviors versus smart technology.
So I was just reading that California zeroed out the funding for EPPs, virtual power plants, so they cut the funding. What impact or how, I think they're gonna rely on either utilities or aggregators to do it. It's no longer in state funding. What impact is that on the EPP?
I will start and then Caitlin, feel free to jump in. So what we are researching is different VPPs that utilities and CCAs have implemented across the state of California. So it is using funding that is not connected to state funding.
I think what you may be referring to is a program called Demand Side Grid Support, DSGS, which many people many aggregators throughout California utilize this program as a way to monetize battery discharge specifically. So that has been cut. What we are looking at as part of our energy programs plan is a program funds to support our own VPP and distributed energy resource management platform.
Hey, Joe?
I'm Joe from Vista. What is CEA's timeline and plan to aggressively implement EPPs around the region?
So great question. Right now we are in the research phase. After we conduct our research, then we will jump into building out a timeline. We do want to, correct me if I'm wrong, Caitlin, aggressively pursue a VPP for CEA customers. So what we'd like to do is move forward with putting together a DERMS, which is a distributed energy resources management system platform to be able to run a VPP program. So we're looking into a DERMS option and parallel to that, looking into standing up programs that could benefit from this.
At the previous CAC meeting, shared with you information about the Equitable Building Decarbonization Grant Program and SD-REN, the Regional Energy Network. And both of these have components of installing energy efficiency measures, including smart thermostats, smart heat pump water heaters. And these are all great opportunities to engage the customer at the time of the install to participate in something like a VPP. So we're trying to speedily work to align with the timeline of installing those measures, as well as our Solar Plus program really picking up speed here as we go into the summer months. That's another form of kind of the smart infrastructure that we can bring into the
Right, John, do you have a question? No? So help me understand how this fits into the master plan. Like, is this, top of mind, next thing, where is it in your strategy?
So we do have our energy programs. I believe this is a top priority with a handful of other programs that CBA is wanting to roll out.
So are we talking 5-year plan or strategy? Are we talking next year? Just help me understand. I know you said there's a timeline. Can I maybe talk about where you are, what is in process right now? I'm just trying to understand how it fits in the bigger strategic plan and this organization in terms of.
So in our energy programs plan, it is one of several measures that we outline as kind of a work plan to do research at the staff level. And in the programs plan, we have it marked as a long-term initiative, which is somewhere between the 4 and 5 year timeline. But with the EDG grant funding and SD-REN grant funding, I think we've thought about pushing that timeline up internally. And so that's where we are exploring our procurement requirements for contracting software, what type of demand response programs we would create that really guide the use and deployment of that VPP. So internally, the timeline is being explored now.
So, I trigger another question is, so the VPP is local energy sources. So, my assumption is that if you're using local energy sources, that's less power you have to buy from other energy sources. So, money-wise, is there a projection of how much, to get this program up and running, what impact it has on cost for purchasing energy?
Yeah, so through our research, setting up a GERMS platform in VPP is ideally in stages. So the first stage is getting the program set up for the customers. So figuring out what devices are going to be eligible, what's the incentive or compensation structure, getting that in place first. Then the second part is looking at overall peak demand production and how that will reduce costs for the overall DCA. So we haven't done the in-depth analysis yet of what this means for cost reduction for CEA, but it will likely take a little while to, one, get those programs set up, get folks enrolled in the program, to get a high enough volume in the program to be able to see CEA savings.
Thank you.
I don't see any other, sorry, Paige. Yeah, Paige, Christina, Carlsbad.
Would this have a long-term impact on reducing the need for additional infrastructure from SDG&E?
Likely no. These are systems that would be deployed in existing buildings that are connected to the SD grid. So the smart thermostats, adding, battery or solar to someone's home, and when you have battery and solar on your home that's already connected to the grid, you'll still have to pay the monthly service fees, base charges.
Okay, I think what my question was more directed at future need for more infrastructure, not existing infrastructure. So I'm just wondering if instead of having, another power link or whatever out there, if we can, both the CTAs and the area can capitalize on BPPs and.
It's possible,
Yeah.
especially if you get to some sort of critical mass participation in the VPP. And then also, I just want to make a clarification. I misspoke in the energy programs plan. It is a midterm measure, which is more towards 2028. So starting the process now, we'd actually be just slightly ahead of.
Great. Before you leave the podium, can you say your name and title again, so we all remember?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Jay Bird, and I'm a programs analyst.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
All right, and then I think we have one more presentation, which is item 3, social media marketing efforts and website update. I just want to, before you get started, remind the committee that this was a request that came out of one of our committees. That as we continue growing and expanding and choosing different ways to engage with our community, that we get an annual report. So this is our first annual report on this topic, right? So go ahead, thank you.
Thank you.
Right? You have to introduce yourself.
Good afternoon. Sorry if I'm too loud. Can everyone hear me okay? Perfect. Good afternoon, Community Advisory Committee. My name is Tiffany Reynolds. I'm the Key Accounts Analyst for CEA, and I'm here today to present our social media marketing efforts and website updates. So our marketing and outreach efforts are guided by several goals, and you may recognize some of these goals from our August 2025 presentation that we gave to the CAC. So we continue to focus on building brand awareness and reinforce CEA's role as a trusted community partner. To expand our outreach and strengthen our engagement on all platforms, we deploy strategies such as video content, paid advertising, collaboration with external organizations, and producing bilingual content. Just as importantly, we aim to highlight the value CEA brings to customers, along with our dedication to public service and providing, and all while making clean energy topics more accessible through clear, relatable, and community-focused storytelling. So I'm happy to report we have experienced significant growth across every social media platform since our last update. LinkedIn remains our largest platform with over, sorry, this is out of date, it's actually over 1,300 followers, seeing a 52% increase over last year. Instagram has grown by 39%, reaching 517 followers, and Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and YouTube also shows steady growth. We've recently updated our posts per week to approximately 2 to 3 posts. Previously, we were doing 3 to 4 on each platform, focusing on topics such as program updates, community events, educational topics, and reminders. These consistent efforts have helped us build a stronger and more engaged online presence. This year's results also demonstrated significant progress in both reach and engagement. Across our social media channels, impressions, which indicates the number of times a post appears in someone's feed, increased by 254%. Engagements, which indicates the amount of times that somebody took an action on a post, so that could be a like or a share, increased by 246%. And the largest increase we saw was link clicks, which increased by over 483%. For the first time, we used paid advertising on social media to promote a few of our posts, including the Understanding Your Bill webinar, which was posted in both English and Spanish, as well as the Front Wave Arena website scavenger hunt.
This cost to CEA was only $160, and we expect this number to grow next year as we continue to build an understanding of which content is most effective to promote. LinkedIn continues to be our top performing platform overall, which is largely driven by our hiring announcements that happened in May. Instagram achieved the greatest increase in content reach, and Facebook generated the highest number of link clicks, which again, largely due to our promotion of the Understanding Your Bill webinar, where folks clicked on our YouTube video. In October of 2025, CEA staff received the subcommittee recommendations from the CAC. So we'd like to update you on the progress we are making that was recommended by the subcommittee. We're happy to report that we do follow folks back on Instagram now. So we actually have expanded our following to over 118 regional and climate focused organizations that we follow back on Instagram, as well as increasing collaborative content with those regional organizations. We also have produced short form educational content by launching our Meet the Board and Meet the Staff Spotlight series, which highlights educational topics around energy and CEA's role in providing clean energy. In addition, we published the Understanding Your Bill webinar, helping customers understand an often complex and very confusing topic. One of our most successful initiatives this year was our Meet the Team series, which featured CEA staff and board members integrating educational information about our programs and services in a short form video. On Facebook and Instagram, these videos generated approximately 3 times the average number of views compared to typical video content. Across all platforms, the series produced nearly 6 times the average number of comments per post. These results confirm that audiences respond strongly to authentic, people-centered content that highlights the individuals behind the organization. We're looking at expanding this series as we have onboarded 5 new staff, so we hope to continue this series through this next year. Another area of focus has been increasing the amount of human-centered content that highlights CEA's presence in our community, showcasing staff participation at events and local outreach. We hope this puts real faces behind our organization and folks that they hopefully will recognize as members of their community. We hope to be building trust in our community and often see that residents are more willing to learn about and participate in CEA programs and the organization as a whole if we are directly doing outreach to them in the community compared to posting on social media. This year, we actually partnered with a group of seniors from CSU San Marcos who were tasked with reviewing CEA's current marketing strategy. As part of this collaboration, students developed a comprehensive strategic marketing and social media plan for CEA. Their report, once final, was over 90 pages, and it included an in-depth review of our existing marketing efforts, along with various recommendations for future improvements. This partnership was at no cost to CEA and provided really valuable insight in the areas we can continue to improve on. We've handed this report off to Troy Smith, which is our current marketing consultant, in order to evaluate items that we can begin implementing. In addition to social media growth, we have continued improving the customer experience on our website. The updates that we've implemented are enhancements to our Green Impact Champion webpage, the addition of a bill comparison calculator where folks can compare the CEA power products that we offer in comparison to SDG&E's pricing, the improvements to our program search functionality, and the development of a FrontWave Arena website scavenger hunt initiative, which is part of our FrontWave sponsorship agreement we have through the end of this year. On the social media side, we have expanded live event coverage and shifted toward more human-centric content. At the same time, we're intentionally reducing the overall volume of posts to 2 to 3 posts per week, hoping that that will shift to focusing on higher quality content that delivers greater value and engagement. Looking ahead, we know that there is still a lot more work to do. So our next focus will be on continuing to improve accessibility on our website and engagement on our social media. Planned website enhancements include updates to our key documents page, a revamped frequently asked questions page, improved menu navigation, and improving our search feature on our homepage, and refreshing several web pages that currently exist that haven't been touched in quite some time. On social media, we plan to launch a Green Impact Champion Spotlight series this year, which was highlighted as an action item recommendation in the subcommittee report. And that will be going into effect as we continue the Front Wave sponsorship this fall. And then lastly, we plan to focus on updating our YouTube channel to help improve engagement. These initiatives will help ensure that CEA continues to provide clear, accessible, and engaging communications while supporting our broader organizational goals.
All right, are there any questions, comments?
Excuse me, Joe, but this, I'm intrigued by the college students report. What are the highlights from that? Were there any surprises? You know, what did you take away from?
Thank you for the question. The report was very interesting. High level, they touched on a lot of items that we've already identified internally as needing improvement. And so it validated a lot of what we were thinking internally of things that need to be improved on, as well as they highlighted on items that we hear other CCAs across the state are doing for their marketing and outreach strategies. I would say some of the more interesting points that they brought up that stuck out to me were implementing an AI search feature on the homepage. Although I'm not sure that we would do that, but I think it's interesting to think about how AI might impact engagement on our social media pages in the future, especially with younger audiences. Other highlights, a lot of discussion was had around our communication on our page and how there's a lot of industry language that needs to be removed because a lot of folks in the community don't know what power procurement is or joint powers authority. Those words to them are not as easy to come and understand as it is for somebody who works in this field every day.
Yeah. Go, John.
No, I just wanted to thank you for the presentation. Very informative. And it's actually helpful to see where people are looking and where they're searching and where they're responding. That's something I'm being taught on another level. So I appreciate what you've done.
I have a few questions. One, the Front Wave Arena. So we're sponsoring them. Are they members?
They are in
CEA
CEA
members?
service territory.
You should be under that.
Just for the sake of customer confidentiality, we can't speak
Okay.
on the
I would
active
think,
status of a customer, but
Right.
from general knowledge of CEA service territory, it's located within the department.
okay, so let me just put it a different way. We know when a school district, because we give them a Green Champion Award, we should be able to know if the Front Wave Arena is part of our membership and acknowledge them as well in the same way that we do our other programs, especially since we're offering our side of being a sponsor. So I'm just putting that out there. Okay. And then the video is very, you know, your Lincoln project is so much better than I was. And I do know that tagging every city, every time you do a post and things like that can pop. I don't know if it's already happening, so I'm just throwing it out there because it did say want to feedback. And then, you know, certainly hashtags are really important. If you are already being followed or linked with all of the other CEAs in that space, it's really important that all of that's part of everything you post. And then, another thing, just back to the video, people are engaged in video, so hopefully that will remain part of some of the themes that you're using for next year. So any other questions on this presentation? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
For your work. And we will move to item number 4. Item number 4 are the subcommittee reports. The way we're going to do this today is when your committee is up, you will state the name of your committee, the chair of your committee, and the members of your committee, because we don't have an official record of all, we need to have an official record of who's on it, and I think for our public, we want to know who's in it. So in other words, Deborah Shea, principal on each. Right? Okay, so the first committee, Tracy, since you're looking at you, I will let you go first.
Tracy Barham from Escondido. Joining me on this committee would be Paige and John and Jazz and Ann. And we have our mission for that. No, I'm trying to go electronic to make things easier. And here we go. Okay. The mission we created is to recommend an orientation process for new CAC members. This could also potentially be used for board members and staff members. It includes a dynamic resource document with links to pre-recorded webinars, testimonials, and other resources. And to that end, we've created an outline that is the beginning of the things that we would suggest be in such an orientation. Caitlin has reviewed it and provided feedback. And we're now thinking about a question, actually, about how we move forward, recognizing that there's more, this is more than a one-year project likely, for what we could finish in the remainder of this year. So we're thinking about the recommendation that we would submit in November would be to produce such a thing. So it would be the recommendation that there be such a thing that could be either an online resource, or it could be something greater, such as a modular video training. And the recommendation would be for the board to decide, would you like both of these things? Do you want to direct staff to go ahead and create such a thing? And our question is, with this outline that we have now, could that be our product for this year? And then next year, assuming that there is board interest in this, that another subcommittee would form with the mission of creating or assisting in the creation of such a thing. Is that within the rules of how we have to behave? Yes, that sounds like an excellent thing. Awesome. And would anyone on the subcommittee like to add to? All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Our next committee, Daniel, do you want to go? Do you have a report? So, yeah, I thought you did, but do you have anything to report this time?
Actually, well, I was gonna, it kind of ties into the committee member announcement. It kind of ties into this. All right, we did the report, last month. So let me start off. Dan Dominguez, promotion side. We had a committee consisting of myself, Joe Hood from Vista, and Tracy Barham from Escondido, right, Tracy? And so, you know, the committee, part of the committee report was on delinquencies for arrearages in the various cities. And there was one city that had higher rearage rates. And so there's programs that programs to help people with paying their electric bills, but the utilization of them is very low. So, I had discussions with Mr. Rob Howard, and we had discussions with some of the city council members at Oceanside, and we've passed this idea, and we're going to go pursue this idea for the city of Oceanside, is that the presentation from Tiffany on electronic media was great, but I'm still kind of an old school, old media type of guy. And so the plan that we're going to pursue is incorporating the city of Oceanside as a municipal water district. Every resident gets a municipal water bill, and it's usually, they will always open it. It's not like social media where curiosity, whether you click a link or not, they have to open that bill. And it's usually the same person that is probably the account customer from CEA, usually one and the same, including pamphlet or flyer in the city water bill with the various programs on how to help people pay their electricity. So we're pursuing this. I think, the cities, at least Oceanside, was real surprised and interested in the amount of people struggling to pay their utility bills. Might be receptive to including a insert in the water bill on programs available. So that covers my subcommittee report and
Any questions for Daniel or his committee? Okay, and Joe.
Joe, our committee is about the use of new technologies and enjoy the VPP discussion. Obviously, that's something we would love to see pursued. We, committee consists of John, Moshe, Ian, Micah, and Roger Davenport. Now, only half representatives today here. Anyway, we previously had a meeting with the leader of Solar Rights and Alliance to talk about emerging technologies and legislation. I am in the process of preparing some slides from that. Sadly, I've not had time to finish it, but we have some core ideas which fundamentally focus around solar and batteries. We probably end up saying, look, let's emphasize getting solar out there, on rooftops. Mountain campaign to maximize solar on rooftops. I think it would make a lot of sense to see if CEA can facilitate or maybe lead the effort for cities to use power purchase agreements, for example, to put solar on all of the city operated facilities and parking lots and so forth. It would make a huge difference in our solar generation, and can be done with profit or lower costs in mind. So that's the thrust of where I think we're going. Any other comments about that?
All right, thank you, Joe. All right, just so that everybody understands the calendar, November 12th, we have one more meeting in September, but November 12th will be when you want to have your final report that you will be presenting or you will be handing on to our Clean Energy Alliance board, okay? And in the past, we had a format for that. And are we still sticking to the same format? Or do they already have that information?
Yes, we're sticking to the same format, and that outline was emailed to everyone, a couple months ago, maybe a month ago. I can go ahead and resend.
It's okay, I just want to make sure, you should have received it from Anna. It will be, in other words, everybody's report's gonna look the same, it may have different information, or maybe longer or shorter, but it's gonna have the same format. It'll have your mission statement, recommendations for the board, right? So look over that, if you have any questions next month, then you can have that dialogue here, or you can reach out to for any questions, okay? All right, so with that, we will move on to our last item today, this is item number 5. These are committee member announcements. Just a reminder, these are not agenda items. These are things you want to share that you participated in or that are going on in your community. And we will start at the end with member meeting. Nothing to report.
As for more, nothing.
John Moser, San Marcos. I was just gonna say, at Oceanside, the NAACP event was interesting. It was fun to be a part of. And even when we had an Escondido a few months prior to that. So I know Tiffany is reaching out to us to let us know when events are happening in our cities, that we can be a part of it on a regular basis. And the other part I want to say is I appreciate the presentation today and on the virtual power plant. It's something I hadn't really looked into, but to see it out there and start understanding how it can actually be used more now because of the advances in technology and what we now have in our homes is very helpful.
Tracy Farm, Escondido, just thanks for the reports. I found them really interesting and nothing else to report.
Joe, you want to go with it?
Yeah, sure. So that again, on the 16th of this month, I guess next week, North County Climate Change Alliance is hosting a webinar on the theme tied to climate action plans, the theme of equity and nature in cities. Of course, this is a huge place where you can reduce heat and end up reducing energy bills. The speaker is the CEO of a company called Nature Quant. And you can look at a map of the whole country, zero into your home if you like, and find out on a score scale 0 to 100 what nature score you have. Where I live in Vista, I have a 3.8 out of 100. Many of our friends who are in the same, 7 or less. And their research says that if nature score increases by 15, so if my 3.8 went to 63.8, the average life expectancy in my neighborhood would go up by 4 years. Each 15 points increases life expectancy by 1 year. And in terms of equity, in terms of providing shade and so forth, that would help reduce cost, that reduces the energy burden and so forth, this would be just an incredible opportunity for us to learn more and possibly integrate, at least in our advocacy for equity and reducing bills, this kind of technology and insight.
Or, sorry about that. You
Just a
have a-
report, yeah, committee member announcement.
And the thing is from Oceanside accomplished, not historic first, historic, accomplishment is they updated their general plan. It hadn't been updated since I think the 70s. And I participated with Oceanside Climate Action. This is the Calvera, Sierra Club, 2 other members, And while the general plan update wasn't a home run, I think it accomplished a lot of things that moved the ball forward with respect to the city.
Thank you, Daniel. I just wanted to note that the San Diego Regional Energy Academy is still open, right, for applications. I can remember the deadline. And I think you've heard from both John and I how, and me, how awesome that was. And I think, especially for those of you that are on that committee, trying to decide how do we prepare new members. That is really a fantastic opportunity. So I don't know how many they will choose. I know we're one of the sponsors, but I would say if you're interested, put your application. If you don't get selected, that kind of put it into the next one. It's very, very valuable. I also was able to go on the SOMS tour for the decommissioning of the San Onofre nuclear power plant, which has been fantastic. I think one of my take homes is that is such an incredible place on the planet to be a nuclear, a plant that's being decommissioned where everything is going into the ground right there. So it was, if you have the opportunity, it is open to the public. You can sign up, for any date and go. And it was very well led by former employees. And so if you have the time and you want to do that, and there were some of us there, some city council members, city manager from Long Beach was there. So it was a great thing. One thing I would say, it would be great if we're going to be in the community and we're going to be hopefully like you guys engaging in these events. We have a name tag that says who I am, and I'm on the community advisory board for clean energy. So when somebody comes up that doesn't know me, they know I'm not staff. They know that I am a volunteer and I here to represent my or you have a T-shirt that says Clean Energy Alliance on it, or a colored shirt. It would just be a nice gift for the volunteers here at the table for our participation and being part of this process. So I'm advocating for that. It's maybe something to put on the radar. I just think as this committee evolves, there may be other opportunities, but those are two just from the photos today, the work that you described in your social media and the new farm. I just, we want this committee to be something that we're not in July, still don't have two members from, two of our cities. We want it to be something that people want to be involved in. So that's one way, maybe small way that we can get more interest. And we are happy to help you recruit. I mean, those of you who are in those two cities on the board may know other people. I know we don't appoint them, but we could, like you just did, John, engage them and tell them what it's about and how important the service is. And, we'd really like you to be part of that. So tag us for that as well. We're available for that. Okay, with that, it is 2:09 and we will adjourn the meeting. Oh, before I do, our next regular meeting is September 10th. And that is, I believe, at the same time, 1 o'clock. It's not listed on it, but it is, isn't it? Okay, same room, same time. Okay, wait. Yes, because Anna can record it now, so. Okay, are you going somewhere together? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.